To start this problem number 6, I wanted to do kind of some basic background information about the intervals and such. And so first I want to make sure that you understand that if you have a problem with a 10 on the bottom, say 1/10, and you compared that to a larger number on the bottom, say 1/100, you need to understand which one of these is bigger number. So when you 1/10 is a bigger number than 1/100. So as your denominator is going up, as the n, which is the sample size on the bottom, then this fraction is getting smaller. Well, that's what's happening with standard deviation. Because standard deviation is coming from having a value of n on the bottom of a fraction. So as n is getting bigger, then this entire standard deviation is getting smaller. All right, so then that means that when you have a confidence interval, which is statistic plus or minus your critical value times the standard deviation. Okay, so let's talk about this. This area here is the margin of error, okay? Because you add it up and you subtract it down. Well, look at what's happening. As n changes, as n goes up, and that's what we have here, as n goes up, this standard deviation goes down, and if this standard deviation goes down, then this margin of error gets smaller. So in summary, as n goes up, standard deviation goes down, and the margin of error also goes down. So on this problem here, where we talk about on number 6, which one has a bigger confidence interval? Well, you would have a bigger confidence interval if you actually had a larger margin of error. Okay, well, let's think. In order to have a larger margin of error, for margin of error to go up, that must mean that the sample size is going down. It's essentially the opposite of what we had talked about right here. For margin of error to go up, the sample size then is going down. So for part A, 95% confidence, so the n versus 25 versus an n of 75. A smaller n makes a bigger margin of error. So that one is the bigger confidence interval. All right, next is part B. And so that is 99%. So the sample size is the same on both of these. Sample size is 50 for both of these situations. So the question is, which is a bigger confidence interval? 99% or 90%? And so you can see from my picture over here, a 90% confidence interval is just that wide. But a 99% confidence interval is wider because it encompasses more data. 99% of the data around your sample. So therefore, higher confidence means you have a bigger interval.